know what to do with your hands.
Exactly. All right, I will sit here.
Okay.
And I will first have you say and spell your name for me, please.
Okay, it's Cherie, Canada. Sherie and Canada.
Perfect. And so go through it again, you know, how everything started happening with, you know, your sickness and vaping.
Well, I just, you know, I vaped for off and on for like 3 years, but I was never a smoker before, but I got addicted to the flavors of it. You know, you didn't have to have the smell of the smoke or anything, so, and then I guess the nicotine that came along with it, I just got addicted to the flavors and the nicotine, and I liked it, and so I just kept vaping. And it wasn't until recently, whenever I got really sick. I thought it was just the flu or the stomach virus or dehydration, and you know, it lasted for about 4 days before finally I couldn't breathe. I knew something was wrong, you know, with my lungs, and so I stopped vaping, and I just got really sick. My heart was racing out of my chest, and couldn't breathe and couldn't sleep. I had to sit up, you know, straddle, holding a pillow, you know. I could not sleep. That was June 11th. And then that was June 10th. And then June 11th was the day I went to the minor clinics. And, you know, they did chest x-rays and gave me some antibiotics. They thought I had pre-pneumonia. And I just got sicker. The fever came back. I got sicker that night, went back, and still I was not doing well. I couldn't get any better. And then when I went to the ER, they ran all kinds of tests. You know, they came back positive for blood clots in my lungs, but then they did the CAT scan and saw that my lungs had then been full of fluid. And so they admitted me to the hospital for a few days. On the 5th floor I was there, and then they decided I needed to go to ICU. So they did a PICC line. They got me settled in the ICU, and for about 4 days my stats were going down. My oxygen levels were going down, and I think by this time on June 18th it was like in the 60%. And I was on the CPAP machine. They had me on the CPAP because they had me on oxygen immediately when I got to the ER. And then about a week there in ICU is whenever they decided to put me on. They told me there was 3 different things they could do. They could put me, they were going to intubate, they could possibly do a chest tube, or even a tracheal tube, and it was frightening. So they eventually decided that my body needed to rest, and they put me in a medical sedated coma on June 18th, and then they said they did a biopsy and relieved about 4 liters of fluid off my lungs. So, and then I came to about, I want to say it was June 21st or 22nd, 21st, around then when I woke up, and I wanted to get up and walk and move. I'd been in the bed for, oh gosh, I guess it'd been a week already, just been bedridden, and so they got me up and got me walking, and I was on, you know, awake and alert on the intubator for about 3 days. And I don't know what they changed to. I know they put a lot of steroids, and a lot of specialists came in, and they had a great team at Hendrix to come in and just, I mean, they went full force with it, you know, and like really fought, you know, to see what was going on and to fight it.
What was it going through that, not knowing what it was? What is that like?
Oh, it was terrifying. And the pain I was in, at that point, I had been fighting for about 6-7 days that I was tired. I even looked over at my mom, and I just told her I can't fight any longer. I can't breathe. My heart was just racing out of my chest. I couldn't breathe anymore. I just wanted to give up. I just wanted to go to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. It was, I've had multiple surgeries. I've had 3 kids. I know pain, and this was excruciating. I just didn't want to be dealing with it anymore. I just wanted to go to sleep. So I knew that's what I needed, was them, when they said they were going to do medically sedate me, I knew that that's exactly what I needed. And it was scary, and I was praying and hoping that I woke up. That's all I could do at that point. But,
when did you realize that it was vaping?
Really, one of the doctors came to me when I'd woken up. I just walked 50 feet and on the intubator, and then whenever we got back in bed, he came to see me, and he said, he was just saying how awesome that was, and he said, the vape, you vaping, he said those vapes can be really bad on your lungs. It can put fluid on it, and from that point when the doctor said that, I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, you don't think about it. Everyone else is doing it. There's so many people are doing it. They're all okay. Everything's fine, and then you're not.
I think a lot of it too is a little bit of misconception. I've heard that it's safer.
Yes.
Did you hear that when you first started?
Oh, definitely. And you hear there's so many mixed different things. From the very beginning, people were against it in general. They're like, that's bad. You shouldn't be doing it. But you don't really, unless there's proof or unless there's people coming out about it that it made them sick, or or if it hits this close to home, not many people really understand the dangers and that it has, or the effect it's going to have on your body. You get addicted to that nicotine. It really doesn't matter. You're just going to do what you want to until it could hit close to home or affect you.
Going through all of this, how hard was it to quit?
Oh, I mean, it was very hard, and of course in the hospital, I'm sure I wasn't the best. I mean, they had me on steroids, and then coming off of nicotine in general, like, I had my bad days. I had grouchy moments. I'm sure my mom can say. But I did. It's having withdrawals, nicotine withdrawals, like anyone when they try to quit smoking or, something, you have those withdrawals. And I was in the hospital for 24 days, so I was able to, I was fighting for my life on top of, all these drugs and things they had running through my body, and, feeding tubes and all kinds of stuff. I was in bed for 2 weeks straight, and I got down to 77 pounds. Whenever I got out of the ICU, I was 77 pounds. So, and then when I finally went to a new room, of course, they brought me all kinds of food I could eat. I was, not on a restricted diet anymore, and I could eat all I wanted, and that weight came back fast.
What was it like, seeing your family there and not really knowing what was going on?
It was terrifying. And to see my boys, I was sent to ICU on my middle son's 13th birthday. And then I was intubated on my 15-year-old son's birthday. And that was terrifying to see them over me. My youngest is 7, so he couldn't come in to the ICU, but he couldn't come into the ICU, but the older 2 were. And waking up and seeing them over me, I felt a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, because when the doctor had mentioned vaping, I was like, I did this to myself, I had a lot of guilt and a lot of shame, and what I put my family through, it was like a selfish choice that I made to vape and to do what I wanted to do, not thinking of the circumstances. And that was, my family, friends, they were I had so many people behind me that I had no idea, honestly, that I had that huge of a support system. But it was amazing.
That's awesome. Let me see here. Okay, and then last question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you want to tell your story?
I want to tell my story because I just want people to be aware. I believe I was given a second chance for a reason. I fought my way back, and hearing all the different cases and seeing moms, brothers, sisters, fathers, these people worried about their significant other, these people, these kids, a lot of them are younger. I've seen a lot of younger ones, but they're in the hospital for the same reason, and a lot of them aren't aware of the signs at first. And I think that was the most important, is I didn't even know what it was until later on, and I just was getting worse and worse, and even doctors, everyone was just puzzled. And so just getting it out there and making it aware of people, that's all I wanted to do, was just spread awareness, raise awareness for it, and let them know that, it is dangerous and it is bad for your lungs, and it could possibly kill you. So
I lied, it was my last question. I thought of more.
it's okay. Keep going.
Was there a time that you thought maybe you weren't going to make it out?
Oh, definitely. The day before they intubated me, I really thought that was going to be like the last day, and that was my son's 15th birthday, and I was terrified, because the way I felt like I was dying for a week. To not have your lungs anymore was, I've never experienced that. You don't know what it's like not to have lungs, not to be able to breathe on your own until you're not breathing on your own. And it was terrifying. And to have machines breathing for you, and then just the anxiety afterward. When I came to, I couldn't sleep for days, because I was just terrified of closing my eyes. I was terrified of waking up with tubes back in my mouth and having to go through the whole process again in the fight. And but before they sedated me, I was ready to let go. I was ready to give up, because I'd been fighting for so long, and it just seemed like nothing was helping. Doctors couldn't find anything that was going to relieve the pain or relieve or cure whatever was killing me. And at that point, I did. I was excited, or I was okay with going to sleep. I really was. I wanted the pain to go away and to stop. It was that painful. And so when I woke up and I saw everyone and I was getting up to walk, I knew from that point I was a changed person. I was never going to take advantage of my lungs again. I'd never inhale another thing in my life because I knew how precious my lungs were. And they're very precious. And they intertwine with your heart, and that's what makes you function as a human. That keeps you alive is oxygen and your heart and your lungs. So, but
are there going to be any lasting effects for you?
I thought there were. The anxiety after going through that was really extreme, especially the first 3 weeks after I got out of the hospital. I had to find my strength. I didn't realize I didn't have as much muscle strength anymore, and I was just trying to go full force when I got out, but it took time for my heart rate stayed in the 120s, just sitting, so it took 3 or 4 weeks out of the hospital before my heart rate was leveled out and at a normal rate. And then my shortness of breath and breathing, it took quite a bit, but I've gotten better and better the more time has gone. I've been able to, I still get short of breath here and there. I haven't tried to run miles or anything, but I don't know. Yesterday I was at my son's cross country meet, and I was running with him the whole way. I was like, Ryan, guys, I'm going, I can't breathe. But other than that, I've been a lot better. I've gotten better. I've gotten my strength back, and I've built my weight back up to my 106 and going, My goal weight, I've never had like a goal weight of going up, but I have a goal weight of getting up.
All right. What are you going to school for?
Nursing.
Nursing?
Yes. It really changed nursing's always been on my heart, but seeing how you lose your independence, being taken care of, having to be helped on the toilet, having to be helped everywhere you go, and I'm such an independent person. Like, I was like, I'll suction myself. I'll do that, and even a nurse was like, you can't do that. And I'm like, I don't understand, you lose your independence, and that was even more terrifying to me, was having someone taking care of me, you know, the way they were. But those nurses were amazing. The healthcare people, everyone, they were amazing. The whole Hendrick healthcare system and the ICU unit, they were great. They took such good care of me. They'd come in and they would wash my hair for me, and they would brush my teeth. And you know, you don't understand those little things that you've taken for granted, just brushing your teeth or washing your hair, or you know, being independent. It really takes a toll on you. And that was, I remember just after they extubated me, I told my mom, I was just, I can't do this. You know, like that was even the hardest part, was not having the strength to, you know, to do things on your own. And, you know, it was really hard.
So did that nursing start after everything?
It just made me want to, you know, go for it even more, because I want to make a difference the way those nurses made a difference in my life. You know, I mean, having a good support system and nurses. I mean, the anxiety I had, one nurse, you know, one or two, like they prayed with me and they helped me just calm down, and they were just like, it's okay, you know, like, you know, you're strong, you've already made it this far. And I mean, I was like hyperventilating at some points, just the anxiety that I'm like, this is supposed to be the easy part, you know, I'm already, tubes are out of my mouth, like this is supposed to be the easy part, but it was the most anxious part. And then just trying to get up and walk daily. And when I was in my room, when I finally got to a regular room and, you know, recovery started, you know, PT and OT, they'd come and help me and walk the halls, and I just wanted to get better every day. You know, the sooner I was off oxygen, the sooner I was able to walk on my own. I knew that, you know, the sooner I could go home. So I was like up in my room, like rearranging my flowers every day. I had so many gifts and flowers, and I was just trying to like get up and move constantly. So just to get my strength back.
That's incredible that you want to be a nurse now. That's
Yes,
awesome.
definitely.
I guess it's always been there, but
It has,
more.
but it's like, you know, it's, you know, you think it's just impossible schooling, and, you know, you have so many different things, you know, fighting you on it, but you're like, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's my dream, and it's made me even more want to go for it even more after this experience, just because they helped me tremendously. They were a huge part of my recovery and my, you know, coming back.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It was great.
Okay, I think that is about all